In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up your Raspberry Pi with the languages that we use on the pureprogrammer.org website. First, you'll need to bring up a terminal window and check to see what languages are already installed with your Raspbian distribution. For example, the GNU C++ compiler, we can check by typing in G++ -- version, and we see the 8.3 GNU C++ compiler is installed. We can check for Java with Java -- version, and the OpenJDK 11 is installed, so we're good there. For JavaScript development, we can check for the node.js interpreter, and node 10.15 is installed, so we're good there. We can check for Perl -- version, and we've got Perl 5.28, and we can check for Python. And the Python we've got is 2.7, and what we really want is Python 3.8 or better. Python 2 is being discontinued and no longer supported, so we want Python 3. So I'll show you how to download the source for that and compile Python 3. To get Python 3 to compile on our system, we have to install some prerequisite libraries first. And we'll use the command line apt program to download and install these libraries. We use the sudo command to execute this as the root user, and then we use the apt command. And the first one we're going to get is build essential. And it looks like everything went well. So the next one we get is check install. And that went well. And then we get lib readline gpl v2 -dev. And that looks like that went well. So we'll do the next one, sudo apt install lib and curses w5 -dev. And then libssl dev. And then SQLite 3 dev library. And then the TK development library. That one has some prerequisites. and then lib gdbm dev. And then C library, lib C6. And then lib BZ2 -dev. It's got some prerequisites. Now that we have all the prerequisite development libraries downloaded and installed, we can now download Python 3.8 and compile it. And we're going to do that in the user source directory. So we're going to cd to user source. And we've got a number of commands we need to execute as super user. So we're going to do sudo-s to get a shell so we don't have to keep typing sudo all the time. And we'll use a program called wget that takes a URL and goes out onto the internet and downloads that file. We're going to go to python.org, and we're going to get the 3.8 version of the Python source as a TGZ file, a tar gedud zip file. That's an archive file that contains lots of smaller files, source files. So we're going to use the tar program to extract all of those smaller files out of this archive. And if you do a directory listing, you'll see that we now have a Python 3.80 directory in addition to that downloaded tar gzip file. We're going to cd into that Python 3.8 directory, and we're going to run the configure program, which looks at your system. This is a general GNU tool that looks at your system, looks at your C compilers, looks at your C++ compiler libraries, and sees what you've got. This is an easy way to configure a build process for any type of Unix or Linux or Mac OS system, or even Windows. It works for Windows too. So you can see that it's finding all of these things, some things it doesn't find, but it's setting up a make file which has instructions for how to build the Python 3.8. It's finding the curses library that we installed previously. And now it's done. Now we can actually run the make utility to build Python. And this is going to compile all the individual files that make up Python. After about 10 minutes, give or take, depending on what model of Raspberry Pi you have, you should finish successfully. And then we can install. To install, we simply type make alt install. Normally you'd type make install, but we don't want to install over the existing Python 2.7, so we're going to do an alternate install. And then make will go through and install all the Python files into the standard directories like user bin, user lib, and such. It takes a little while, but not nearly as long as it took to build. And And now we can see if our installed Python works by typing Python 3.8 -- version. And sure enough, it runs and it comes back as Python 3.8. So all the examples on pureprogrammer.org show that you type Python and then the Python program name. You're going to have to type Python 3.8 and then the program name to make sure you run the Python 3.8 interpreter instead of the Python 2.7 interpreter. And then we're going to exit out of this sudo shell and change back to your home directory, and we're done with the install. Now, one final thing that you might want to install is the gedit text editor, the GNU editor. Simply type in sudo apt install gedit. Select yes. Now it's installed, you can simply type gedit on the command line to run the GNU edit program that you can use to write your source files. You should also be able to find it under your Raspberry Pi menu under accessories. It'll be the second text editor that's added. The simple text editor that came with Raspbian, but this is the gedit. Second one, you can run it that way. And now you can use gedit to edit any of the source files from pureprogrammer.org. That's it for this video. I hope that it helps you get set up with your Raspberry Pi and pureprogrammer.org.